All right, let me see if I can remember the intro, because it'd be cool if I didn't have to redo this. Today, we are filming out of Soundshed Studios, provider of podcast services here in the Austin greater area. Today, we're going to be talking to my good friend, Tony Casillas, who's a door guy at the Comedy Mothership here in Austin, Texas. He's going to tell us a little bit about the audition process and the inner workings of what the Comedy Mothership actually works like. But before we get into any of that, I would like to say thank you to the executive producer of this episode, Wolfsky Comedy. Without their help, I'd probably be going to festivals with like bottles of water that I bought from Kirkland and tell each person that I'm selling them for $10 a bottle. And is it unethical? Yes. Would I make shit tons of money? Also yes. Would I hurt my back? Definitely. That's why I'm charging so much for water bottles. But because of Wolfsky Comedy, I don't have to do that. And if you want to become a big baller supporter of the show, you could go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Welcome to Catching You Up with Nadav. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps with the algorithm. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my very good friend, Tony Casillas.
Hi, Nadav. How are we doing?
I'm good, Tony. Sorry I had to make you be quiet during all of
I like that. That was sweet. The like and subscribe. I think those are all good things. I think people should do it. And if they don't, I will myself.
Oh.
So if you don't like to Nadav's page, my death will be your fault.
You know, we're going to bleep a lot of those words because YouTube doesn't like them, but
Okay.
I think you'll be able
Can I
to
retry
get
that?
the context clues.
Retry.
Yeah.
My unaliving myself will be your fault.
Oh, perfect. You do know the YouTube
I know
rules.
the YouTube's
yeah.
fine.
There's going to be a lot of unaliving happening.
I just pull out a knife.
Yeah. I'll be doing
Have
it.
you
Tony will be doing
commented
it.
yet?
This might be the last episode. God, I've got YouTube will not smile upon this. So, Tony, you know, you were actually probably one of the first friends that I made in Austin. I remember meeting you at a poker game at Ennie's house like 2.5 years ago. Matt, who made this studio, was also there. I didn't realize he was there when I met you for the first time. And anytime we've hung out, I'm just like, Tony has made me laugh the hardest out of any like new friend I've made in Austin.
I think it's because we're very similar, where we both have obnoxious laughs that either help a party or ruin a party.
Yeah.
We have those kind of laughs where we're either like setting a good tone, or when we come into a room, people are just like, those guys fucking did something wrong. Because we have like very Joker-esque kind of like, ah! And it's either like, wow, those guys are having a blast, or those guys assaulted someone.
Right.
And they got away with it.
It's like the like Devon from Friday, where you're just like, oh, he plays by his own rules.
Exactly.
you can't tell him to calm down. Like, dude, don't steal that guy's bike. You don't know what he's about to steal from you.
Yeah, so I think, I remember that. We're just laughing. And fucking even he was living in a pretty big house at the time, but even him was like, "Hey man, keep it down." Like,
yeah, we're pretty boys.
It was like a couple of hyenas.
It's been so cool over the years to just see you get up on stage. I've seen a couple of your sets, and surprise, you're just as funny to me on stage as you are off stage.
Aww.
And I'm gonna be a pro and pretend like I don't see that guy in the room. The thing that I also found most interesting is we hang out.
Yeah.
And you were telling me something where I was just like, oh, I had no idea that there was a process like that when it comes to hiring people for a comedy club. So one thing that I knew was that the Comedy Mothership I don't know if it was purposely designed. I imagined it was. But whenever I've been to the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and then I came to the Mothership here, I'm like, oh, the Mothership has such Comedy Store vibes.
Yeah.
Just less soaked in cum.
Well, it's coming.
Well,
The cum is coming.
It's getting there. The cum is coming.
I've been every day.
But it always feels like, oh, there's two different stages. There's like a back tunnel. There's people like hanging out in the back of every room, and it's just like, holy shit, is that fucking Shane Gillis? There's all this like cool shit that's just happening where I feel like a lot of rooms in Austin don't really behave that way.
No, it's kind of like, I know, it's crazy. It is kind of like the Premier Club. It's like a weird clubhouse where you never know who's gonna just be there.
Right.
Which is so cool, but also like, it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Where you're just like yesterday, what's his face from Entourage was there. The guy the Aquaman, fucking Vinny Chase. just came to a show, and I was like, fucking Aquaman's here, Vinny Chase. But it's like a cool thing where and everybody like they're just cool. Like no one's bothering them. It's like this. I don't know. There's like this kind of rule at the club where like, hey, if you recognize someone, just be cool,
Right.
dude. And that's the cool thing too is because the audience, their phones are locked up. So we've had like, I remember we had Rudy Gobert, which you can't miss him. He's a basketball player.
Yeah.
He's giant, and like all the audience's phones are locked up. So they would walk up to him like, "Hey man, fucking big fan, good look at the playoffs this year," but like they can't bother for selfies.
Right.
So you're
They're having
it's
real human interaction.
Yeah, it's really cool, and he's just walking through, goes to midget, like no one bothered him really. So yeah, it's like this really kind of, it's this place like, hey, if you're gonna come here, just be cool,
Right.
just be cool.
And that's like, I feel like the mentality of, it's the takeaway of Comedy Mothership, but it's also the takeaway of literally any other place that you'd want to work.
Yeah.
Like, you could be arguably shitty at your job. I've seen this before.
Yeah,
you could be bad at your job,
Yeah.
but you are the funnest person in the room.
Oh yeah.
And that gives you so much more breathing room.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like the Comedy Mothership is just filled with people that are dope to be around.
Dope to be around. Yet we all suck at it at our jobs, but together as a group, we get the job done. But individually, the place would burn down, the door guys. But together, we make sure like shit works. And yeah.
Right. It's the asylum's run by the lunatics. And,
Yeah.
a lot of times it doesn't work. But for some reason, comedy clubs, it comes together. And imagine, I don't know all the inner workings. I'm sure it doesn't work sometimes.
No, a lot of clubs it doesn't. But here it's kind of like we want it to. It works because I don't know. There's just so much we can gain for it working.
Right.
Because I've worked comedy clubs. I was a door guy at my home club, and nothing against my home club, but there were no perks really. It was like, oh, maybe if the host was stuck in traffic, I get to go up and do 5 minutes occasionally, but it's not like on a show for like for like Doug and Trussell. It's on the show for a road guy named Fart Fart Quack Quack, and there's like 9 people in the room. So, there's no like, there wasn't really perks. I just liked it because I just liked being around that comedy club.
Right.
And I wanted to learn.
You're around people that are kind of like you, and that's hard to
yeah.
find when you're a comedian.
Also, I saw a lot of like kind of hacky road guys, and the crazy thing, people are like, oh, you probably didn't learn anything from them. I was like, I learned a lot from them. I learned like, always be writing because I would see them come back and back, always do the same hour, never change a beat. I would learn like, oh, that's kind of like a hacky premise. Like, yeah, it got a big laugh, but if I went home, I wouldn't be like, oh, that bit, that's his bit.
Right.
It was so kind of just hacky and out there. That could have been one of like 20 comedians' bit.
Right.
So I learned like right when you're writing a joke, fucking write a joke that's very personal to you that sticks out, and it's like, oh, this is Shane Gillis' bit.
Like hard to steal. Like if you write jokes that are just about your own stuff, it's hard to steal those bits.
Hard, not even to steal, just to be memorable. Like Shane Gillis, there are jokes where I'm like, oh, that's a Shane bit. Someone could tell me the joke and be like, oh, that's Shane's joke. Where there's some jokes where it's like, oh, my wife,
Right.
she's always be shopping. It's like, oh, I've heard that from 9-10 different comics.
Right.
So it's just like, there's no personal attachment for the comic and the joke.
Right.
So it's kind of like, and I feel like that's how you gain an audience, is if people can relate to your joke and remember your jokes because they're like, oh, I like this joke. I want to go back and see what else he has. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been so many people where I take people to random comedy shows and like, it's always interesting, like, you've been in it for a minute, I've been in it, like, I mean, I've been watching comedy for a minute, but when you're taking someone that's, like, new to a comedy show and, like, seeing who they latch onto and being like, oh, that person was so fucking funny, where they're just like, oh, Casey Rockett's the best.
Yeah.
And then you see someone that's just like, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
And, like, that's fun, but, like, seeing, like, Brian Holtzman coming up, you're like, let's see how they react to Brian. Like, that type of shit. It's just fun seeing people's reactions to that stuff.
I've seen I'll tell this story. My favorite moment at the Mothership, I saw a couple break up during Brian Holtzman's set. If you don't know Brian Holtzman, you need to come check him out. He has stuff online, but you got to come see him live. There's nothing better. He is the devil on earth. On stage, he's the devil, but it's the funniest shit ever. It's vile. It's disgusting. It's the funniest shit ever. He is the sweetest man.
It's like what you were saying. It was like the "Take My Wife, Please," but added on like domestic abuse, like as a tag to that
But it's
joke.
so he is one of the best. He's crazy on stage. It's one of the best things ever.
It's the
but
funniest.
he's going on stage and he's ranting about. He's just ranting about how he hopes. He goes, I hope Travis Kelce falls on Taylor Swift like an old fucking Coke machine. Like he's just going off. He's just he's in it, and we're in the back just dying. And we see a couple, and this dude is howling. He's like slapping his leg, and the lady she goes, stop laughing at him. And he goes, I'm sorry, he's funny. And she goes, he's not funny. This is disgusting. And the guy's still laughing. She goes, stop laughing. He's like, what do you want me to do? She goes, if you still laugh, I'm fucking leaving. So he continues to laugh. She gets up and she goes, fuck you, and just leaves. Like, I watched a breakup happen because of Holtzman. I've seen that 3 times now.
Dude, bullet dodged.
Yeah, but when couples, like, I'll do that. I've taken two first.
Brian Holtzman's a good litmus test for a relationship.
Yeah. No, my last relationship, it was like, I knew she was cool, literally, because I took her to go see like Rogan and Friends, and we're in there, and she had met Holtzman downstairs at Mitzi's, and it was right when the guy from Friends died.
Oh, okay, Matthew Perry.
He had a Matthew Perry joke, and it's so good. He goes, what was Matthew Perry's last words? yeah. So, just like great, just good. So he pitched a joke to us, killed, and she literally goes, hey, when is that Brian guy going on? I want to see what he does. And I was just like, oh, I like you. This is cool. So we watched it. Yeah, it's so literally, if you come to Austin, Texas, make sure Brian Holtzman's perform, because he's what the mothership is.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of what the mothership is, where it's just crazy,
chaotic good.
Chaotic good. You're not going to see it anywhere else. And if you get offended easily, don't see it. Or if you do, just don't say anything. Just sit there.
Right.
But
Just don't tell your friend. Just let them sit next to you. Like, I remember the first time I took my girl to a comedy. I think I saw. I think we saw him at Skankfest for the first time. And I sit down. They're like, all right, Brian Holtzman. I'm like, oh, you're in luck, babe. And she's like, what? Who is this? I'm like, just shut the fuck up and listen. And he starts going. And within a minute, she's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, give it a minute. Give it a minute. Also, I want you to start noticing the entire crowd and how they're reacting.
Yeah.
And then she starts doing that. And she's like, oh. And you see it click and you're like, boom. All right. Brian Holtzman is now one of our favorites. And he's so fucking funny. Especially when he starts thinking that he's bombing. He just goes up from a 9 to a 15, and it's this is the fucking best.
And the cool thing is, off stage, he is literally the sweetest man.
I'd imagine.
He is the coolest. He just wants everybody to laugh, have a good time. He'll introduce people, if someone from the store isn't town. Oh, Tony, meet this guy. This is Tony. He's a door guy. Very fun. He's the sweetest, coolest dude. But then on stage, he becomes the devil, which, honestly, that's
what you want.
There's some comics that are the devil off stage. We know. There's some comics that commit sex crimes off stage. And then on stage, they're all like, oh, fucking shoes are crazy. I would rather have
dolphins make weird sounds.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. If you know, you know. But so I would rather have my comedian be devilish on stage, and a sweetheart off stage, and that's what Holtzman is. He's the best. But yeah, meeting people like that is what is the coolest part of the job. Is just I'm meeting celebrities and bigger name comics, but it's the people I'm meeting that are just they just doing it for the love of the game.
Right. Seeing someone, because you imagine also that after being in this for so long that people get jaded. But the people that are successful are the people that are still fucking stoked to do it. Still stoked to be there, still excited to try new shit and not just oh, all right, we're doing the fucking, hour that I know killed in 95, you know?
But that's the cool thing, like Holtzman, we'll get off of him after
Yeah.
that, but it's like he's finally like kind of getting he's getting a fan base where I'll be working the door and people are like, hey, is Holtzman up tonight? I'm like, yeah, he's gonna go up last in like 20 minutes. And they're like, can I just go in to see him? And if someone asks me just to see Holtzman, if there's room and there's seats, I've like helped sneak like 1 or 2 people in where I'm just like, you don't have to buy, come in real quick. If you're asking just to see Holtzman, you belong in a scene. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to bring him up to watch Holtzman. They're like, yeah,
Okay.
right on.
I want to talk about door guy culture right now.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that just think like, oh, this person works at the comedy club. Like, no. This is like a comedian that someone saw something in, and like this is now their workout club.
Yeah.
So like I remember, and they're so much nicer than you'd expect them to be.
Yeah.
Well, some of them.
No, the thing is, if you give us respect, we'll be nice to you.
Right, exactly. But
yeah.
also, I couldn't imagine anyone that is a fucking asshole. Do you need some help over there?
No, it's good, I think.
There's.
We're good. I'll hold it. We're good. It was good.
There's.
I forgot to take my Viagra.
BlueChew.com, code word Nadav. I'm pretty sure that code's still going to work. Show them some love.
Yeah.
But, there's, like, because I remember, I moved to Austin, like, 2-3 years ago at this point. But, like, I lived in L.A., and I went to the Comedy Store while it was shitty before Rogan came back. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time I went up there was me, 2 people that came with me, and Don Barris was up.
Yep.
And
Another
like
one of those
he's wearing short shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at it like I'm just like enjoying the set. And he's performing to 3 people. Doesn't matter if there's 3 people or it's a full room. Don Barris is giving you the same set.
Yep.
And my friend leans over to me and he whispers something, and I'm like not trying to listen to him. And I'm just like, I'm listening to fucking Don. But Don notices because there's 3 people in the audience. And he's like, what? What just happened over here? What did you just whisper in his ears?
Yeah.
And my friend's like, I was like, what did you whisper in his ears? And he goes, your nuts are hanging out of your pants. And Don doesn't look down. He goes, I don't believe you. What color are they? And my friend's like, bright red. He's like, all right. But what I'd like to say is, there was a couple other sets that I saw that night where I saw this guy bomb. And again, like this was before Rogan, where the Comedy Store was fucking, it was a ghost town. So whenever I'd go, it would always be me and max 6 other people in the audience of a room that could fit at least 100, maybe 150. And I remember seeing this comic like go up, and he is just eating shit, but like his jokes are funny. There's just no one in the audience to laugh. And then I just hear a waitress from the back going, oh, so no one wants to go to the bathroom and do coke with me. And I'm like looking back, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then he just brings her up on stage. They get into an argument about how they're not going to go to the bathroom to do blow. And like that was the takeaway of the set. And then like I see him like 3 weeks later, I'm like, hey man, I saw that that waitress asked you to do blow. I thought that was really fucking funny, and like, hope you have some good sets tonight or some fun sets. And he goes, when you go to the door, ask them for the midnight special. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, hey, that guy told me to tell you ask for the midnight special. He goes, all right, you and you 2 friends. I'm like, yeah. We go, all right, follow me. I'm like, what the fuck? Was that a code? And so it's like there's just all these like give and gets where like they don't like forget like people that are cool to them, and like they're cool in so many ways back. But then to bring this all back around, and why I'm asking you to be on this show is that I remember I don't know, I think you and me, like we had some poker game going on, and you let on that like it was because you're part of the first class of door guys at the Mothership. I was like, is that like an application? You're like, no, it's an audition process. And that really piqued my interest. I'm like, what the fuck does auditioning for the Mothership look like? So
it was crazy. So it was like so all these comics moved to Austin during the pandemic when we didn't even know if Rogan was building a club. So we just kind of packed up. Rogan moved here. He said he was going to open a club.
Right.
A place was bought. Then it was like moved. But everybody, like hundreds of comics moved down here. And we're doing mics together and shows and, producing our own shows. And it was like for like 2 years. And also we were just in town, and we're just like,
Right.
is this club gonna
I guess
open?
I'll do another set at the Vulcan or the
Yeah,
Creek or
but
something.
it was cool because the one thing I did like about it was we were in full force. There was no judgment really about people doing shows. Where I know in some other cities, like I have friends in like New York that would get judged for doing shows because they're like, oh, you're getting people sick. Because of COVID, which is understandable. Like I get it.
Sure.
People were scared. Like
People were so angry for those.
But
first,
I was just
for that first year.
I was just on the opposite end where I was like, oh, me not going up is making me like depressed and sad. So I'm like, I'm gonna risk my life to do stand up.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't blame anybody for what we went through the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you felt, you felt.
Yeah.
But so for like 2 years we were just doing sets. It was so cool because one thing I liked about it the most was it wasn't. Yeah, it was to hopefully get into the mothership when it opens, but it was just like funny people.
Getting into the mothership, meaning doing time over there, or like, did you already have the plan of like, I'm gonna work there?
I wanted to be a dork. That's always been a kind of a dream of mine.
Yeah.
I've romanticized, kind of like.
I bet.
Yeah, being like.
It sounds like a cool fucking gig.
Yeah, especially the first generation. I love just kind of history and the idea of being like the first generation somewhere and being like that class was cool to me. So for 2 years, it was just like meeting so many funny people. And the crazy thing is, we didn't know, but like the booker of the mothership would just like show up to shows, but he would never. He's Adam's a cool kind of like just. If you look at Adam, he's like a normal guy.
Right. You wouldn't assume that he books the mothership.
No,
You're
he's
like,
just
this guy.
That's a cool guy. Like
Right.
you would honestly assume that he's like a bartender at a cool dive bar. Like he is that kind of like old school. Like he wears like a
Right.
The Smiths t-shirt. Like he's
He
just
he could guess your drink. You're like, jellyfish?
Yeah. No, he's just a normal. But I didn't know who he was. I knew who he was
knew
because
of him.
I knew of him, and I'd seen him when he did a show with Norm Macdonald.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd seen him, but like he wouldn't like make himself known at these shows. So
Let's take a quick break from the episode and say thank you to our sponsor, Soundshed Studios. As you've noticed, we're here recording in my home studio, which is nice, but not nearly as nice as Soundshed Studios. What do you do? What do they do? Why did I film there? Well, what they are is they're a turnkey podcast production facility. You say, hey, I want to film a podcast, and they say, how high? No, they don't say how high. It's much more tactful, and they're much more real. They're honestly great people over there. But if you go to soundshedAV.com, you're able to book an appointment, and they provide everything for you. Microphones, lighting, camera, all of that stuff is figured out for you. So all you need to do, show up, talk into a microphone for however long your podcast is, and then they give you all the assets. They charge by the hour, and honestly, it's one of the most reasonable rates I've ever seen, depending what you want to do. But go to soundshedAV.com to book an appointment today. Now let's get back to the show in a studio that looks a lot better than this.
And he's the nicest
He's the
fucking
coolest.
guy.
He's the-
nicest fucking guy.
yeah, and I remember the place was opening, and then get a text where it's like, hey, audition this date at the Volga Gas Company. 3 minutes. I was like, whoa.
That's how
And-
long the audition is? 3 minutes?
3 minutes. And it was after a Death Squad show, which is a 3-hour show. So they did a 3-hour show, and then they auditioned, I
A
think.
3-minute set with a tired audience?
Yeah. The cool thing is I didn't have, so I was on the road with someone, Trevor Wallace at the time.
Oh, cool.
So when I got the date, I was like, man, we're doing the like Majestic Theater. Like, and I was like, I don't know what, I want the job. I'll like, they already bought my plane ticket, all this. And the cool thing is I got to send in a tape, which was pretty cool.
You're like, yeah, hey, here's me crushing at the Majestic.
Yeah. So I'm lucky on that end because like I don't know how I would have done.
Right.
But I think Adam, the reason he did it is, and I don't know, this is just me speculating, but anybody can do, like not anybody, but a lot of people can do well when the crowd is warm and ready.
Right.
3 minutes, a lot of people, but like, I think he wanted to see how he would do when the crowd's tired
Right.
and you're not getting the biggest laughs.
Right.
Are you still composed? Do you get mad? Do you get angry? Do you get sad? And I think
Interesting.
that's what my thought. I have no idea what,
Right.
but that's what I'm thinking is because sometimes we do have to go late in the show.
Right.
Sometimes he puts the newer comics late in the show, so he wants to see, are you gonna be an asshole? Are you gonna just kind of like sink the ship, or are you gonna go, you know what, the crowd's tired, but I'm still gonna give it my all.
Right.
And I might not get the response I want, but I'm also not gonna blame them. I'm not gonna freak out. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fucking. So I think that's what he did, was to see, because if crowd's tired, it's.
And honestly, that's a great way to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you when the conditions are easy.
Yeah.
I want to see you overcome adversity.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as a comic, that's what you need to do, because like, you're not going to walk into every room where everyone knows who Tony Casillas is.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to walk into a lot of rooms where they don't, and it's like, you
Bro.
want to see what you do when they don't know who you are. It's
That's-
like, I feel like I've heard Chris Rock say this before, but when he was touring around, I think Bigger and Blacker, he was like, I wasn't doing comedy clubs. I was doing old folks' homes filled
Yeah.
with white people. And if they laughed,
Yeah.
then I knew it was an undeniably killer joke. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's all the same setup.
And that's how I feel like working at the mothership, where it's like, because at the end of the day, people want to see the big dogs.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm if I was in their shoes, I'm the same way. And sometimes when they're like, "Your next comic, give it up for Tony Casillas," they're like,
It's like, which Tony?
yeah. They're like, that's not the cool skinny one. Tony looks bloated, like really bloated.
They said he looks bad. I thought he just had a sunburn. This looks more than
He
a
looks
sunburn.
fat. He gained a lot of weight. They say camera adds weight. It turns out camera makes you look very thin.
It's like, I don't see any cameras in here.
But then I'll go up, and you can tell the audience is like, we wanted the cool.
Right.
And that's my favorite part, is to be able to like go like, no. I'm still good.
Right.
And and that's cool to have the audience go from, to, oh my God, that was fucking fun.
Right.
And I think that's what they were looking for, is just comics at different levels, because there's like different levels of door guys. There's, I think, like me, I've been doing it 7 years. There's a couple of us that have doing it 5 to 7 years, where we feature on the road, occasionally headline one-nighters. Then there's people that are like 1 or 2 years in, 3, 4 years. So it's like, I think he wanted to book like a levels of who in the journey. So
I see. So you're all like helping each other kind of like
Yeah.
amalgamate and stuff. Because it's like, if you get to everyone at the same level, at a certain point, they're all quitting within like
Exactly.
the same amount of period. So
Exactly.
you want to be able to revolve.
And also, I think it's just like to help, like you said, to help each other. Where, I don't know, that's another cool thing about this place is it is the most, because you've been around comedians,
yeah.
and sometimes comedians can be selfish. I've been there, and because it's a very like, man, I want this dream, I want to make it, like,
Right.
Let
me step on as many necks as I can to,
Not-
to
yeah,
get
but
to
like,
the spot I want.
I've been in like Dallas. I remember that scene, and that's it's a loving scene. I love Dallas, but there, I remember like being in the showroom, and someone's like, "Oh, I have a tag for that guy's joke." Tells me the tag. He's like, "Oh, that's a good tag." He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him." He's like, "I don't like him." Blah blah blah. And it's just like, and I remembered that, and I was like, that's shitty.
You're just keeping laughter.
You're just keeping laughter. It's like, it's his job. You're just like, I don't want to help him out because, I want to get more bookings at that club. And the cool thing at the cool thing at the mothership, man, it is like it's competitive, but in a good way. It's competitive where, we all want to get spots. We all want to do that. But it's like, hey, man, like there's a comic that's, he's brilliant, Miles Johnson, and he's like 3 years in, and he's already fucking just amazing, but he doesn't have a lot of hosting experiences. And I remember once he went up on like a Christina P and Friends show, and he had a good set, but he just didn't know how to structure his bits for when he's host. He usually goes in the middle of the show where you can almost just do anything. When the host, you kind of have to. There's like a takeoff. It's like
Right.
you have to, start kind of fat,
in
yeah,
and
ease
shit,
them
yeah.
in, and it's cool because I walked up to him. I was like, "Hey, man, this is how you like set up a hosting set. You should do this bit first because your act outs keep getting bigger and bigger, and so by the end of the set, you're doing this joke with like 4 act outs in it, and now they're already used to that rhythm,
Right.
and it's shit like that. And I think we all just want to help each other, and we all, are like, oh, we're the first generation. Eventually, we'll get past, and this is gonna be our playground.
Right. You're gonna be the paid regulars. You're gonna be
Yeah.
fucking running Mitzies.
Yeah, this is gonna be our playground, and it's like it already feels like it's our home already. Like it already feels like our home. Like the staff is amazing, the managers, the bartenders, all that. But it's like, yeah, I think the whole individualistic of it is gone at the
Right.
mothership. It's about
Well, it feels like there's so many checks and balances in place for like making sure people get like not making sure that there's humble checks and shit, but there are checks and balances where it's like, you're fucking the regulars that you see on Kill Tony.
Yeah.
They're also putting your phone in a yonder bag as you walk in.
oh yeah.
And like you'll tell them
Well,
like
Cam had to quit. Cam, it was getting crazy because working with Cam when he was blowing up was like insane. Because it would be like, it would literally be like, he's like, oh, can I see your phone? And then people would be like, can we get a picture real quick? Like the line was getting held up
because
of Cam. We had to hide one of our employees. We'd be like, Cam would try to seat people, and they would like follow him where he was going, and we're like, yeah, this is we can't do this.
Jesus
So
Christ.
Cam, I think, is the shortest door guy. I think he worked there for like month and a half, 2 months,
Oh my
and
god.
then he graduated because it just got too.
So now he's just going in a full on just touring mode.
Now he's passed, and he's just like,
And that's the dream. That's what you're trying to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
You're trying to hone your skills as a door guy, and then
yeah.
to the point where you can do that and be like, "Yep, I can't take tickets anymore. I can't yonder bag anymore.
Yep.
I gotta fucking get the
making
fuck out.
enough money.
I'm holding up lines.
Yeah, making enough money, and I can just go.
Fucking A. So explain to me kind of like the now granted maybe there isn't like a basic career track. But like you didn't just wake up one day and you were like, "Hey, I'm going to send a tape over to Adam at Mothership and hopefully I'll get like what is the track that someone takes to go from I want to do comedy to I'm now a door guy at Comedy Mothership?"
Okay, so me and my buddy CJ were talking about this the other day actually, and it's like, I'm kind of like, because now comedy's kind of changed a lot with like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
A lot of people post. I'm from the jet.
Matt Rife is so funny.
He really, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy what he's done with just posting clips. He went from like barely selling tickets to like doing arenas in such a short time.
And just plugging into the right thing.
And so I come from the generation where, it was shameful to show your material online. It was until it was good. I come from that generation of just, I learned from a lot of old school guys. Just hit the road.
Right.
Do as many
Road
like
dog it.
bar shows, fucking earn your stripes, do tribble runs, do all that jazz. I growing as a comic, I remember being 3-4 years in, featuring for a dude, Butch Lord, my mentor, who's a sweet guy now, but had a crippling crack addiction when I was working with him.
Holy shit.
And like being in a car with him, driving to upstate New York to get paid $300.
Right.
And then driving right back to Texas. Just,
Fuck.
it's 3 shows, 25 minutes a pop, And that was kind of my journey, and I still recommend it.
Like your character building.
I tell young comics, hit the road, go do gigs. It doesn't matter if you make money, if you lose money. Do those gigs because they will make you unstoppable, and they will make you not give a shit. They will make you... dude, I've gone to shows in country towns with this haircut and this graphic tee.
Yeah.
And the crowds are like, we already do not like you. You look like a fucking Bernie Sanders supporter. You're probably a fascist.
Let me guess.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
hate guns and you love abortion.
Yeah, you want to take my gun and kill my baby, and then
Kill
tell
my
me,
baby
and then
with
tell
it.
me you can't have this. That's what you want. But dude, I remember doing those shows, and at first I would fucking just eat a dick, but I kept doing them, and then I learned, oh, this is how you tell a joke. Where if maybe they don't agree with the subject matter, this is how you tell it
Right.
to explain it,
And they'll follow you along.
and they'll follow you along.
Right.
Yeah, they might. I'm not trying to change minds, but they'll laugh.
Right.
And so that's I was always I loved comedy, and I always just, any weekend I wasn't booked in town, I would find a gig for me and my friends to go do 2 or 3 hours away. And so
interesting. So let me ask you this, because I agree. Like you're putting in your 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself in a whole bunch of different situations that it's hard to get, acclimated to every single one. Like it's there's an adaptation process every time you do a gig, especially with that mentality. So my question to you is now, with TikTok, with Instagram, with social media, and someone does take off. Now, granted, Matt Rife has been doing this since he was 16, and he does seem very young.
But the thing about Matt is he did put in his work.
Right.
And that's the one thing I think a lot of people don't see is the guy, whether you like him or not, the guy put in his work and kind of did the thing where he did those gigs. He
Right.
did those
He
hell
honed
gigs.
his skills.
He honed his skills, where I think a lot of young comics, they just see, oh, a guy posted clips, they went viral. And the thing is, I personally don't post a lot, because if I did go viral,
Like you're almost afraid of it.
I would be so. If tomorrow I had to do an hour in front of a sold out theater,
Right.
I would shit myself.
Right. You want to get gradually.
I would do Chris Rock's Bigger and Blacker. What's the difference?
There's these people.
What's the difference between gays and lesbians? I'll do it more liberal.
No, that's good. That's
yeah.
better for 2024. So I mean, we can remove this too if this is too personal. But
No.
for example, with Kam, you're seeing him, he could only be a door guy for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And was he doing comedy back from in Florida? That's where he's from,
Orlando,
right?
yeah.
How long was he doing comedy for?
He's been doing it for 3 years.
Okay, all right.
But Cam's also different. Cam's also, and the thing is, Cam's a different breed. He just has that natural. Cam's a one in a generation kind of talent.
Right.
He is like genuinely something special. And the one thing about what people don't see is, I've seen a lot of people, they get a little pop, and their head gets pretty big,
Right.
and then they stop working. And they're like, I'm the shit.
Right.
Bro, I see Kam fucking do a Rogan and Friends. He crushes a set in the main room, and then after that set, he hangs out in the green room for 10 minutes, and then he goes, all right, I gotta go. And he goes next door to Shakespeare's and does a show for 5 people
Wow.
to work on new shit.
Good. So he's hungry.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So that's my thing, is that's one thing I see about him, where I think he's we've talked about, where he's just man, I'm
The
lucky.
spark is there.
And he's like, I'm lucky to do what I am. And I was like, I want to put on a show for people.
Right.
And so, yeah, Cam's just he's something special.
Cool. So he's not someone that's being disserviced by blowing up and popping.
No,
in the
he's the most humble guy. And it's he'll come off stage and be like, that set sucked. I'm like, Kam, you got 2 applause breaks. He's like, yeah, but that new joke, I flubbed the word. And I love that, because I'm the same way. I love when a comic is more, instead of having a mediocre set and they go, I killed, I love a comic that had a good set and goes, that sucked. Because that's how I relate to it.
Right.
If I'm doing a new joke and I flub a word, or it doesn't,
Oh man, seeing you guys being hard on yourself is the most confusing fucking thing ever. I remember when I first started off, with Tom, it was oh, come to shows. I have merch and shit. Maybe
Yeah.
you could sell some shows. We'd justify some costs and shit. And the coolest part about that was I'd hang out in the green room. I'd see his set, and I'd be like, holy shit, I'm fucking watching a Segura set. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And when he came back in, I was like, dude, great set. And he'd be like, don't fucking talk to me. He wouldn't actually say that. He goes, nah, that was dog shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, really? And he would start breaking down the things that, like, you know, you don't notice as an audience member. You're like, oh, like, you know, it really transforms because the majority of the people that see comedy, they're like, yeah, they're going up there and just winging it. I can wing it. That's that's why I signed up for Kill Tony in a stadium and arena event, you know? And it's like, no, dude. Like, it's always just granular adjustments that you're moving this word over here. You're taking this setup and premise and, like, moving
Or if
shit
you're
around.
rushing, that's my thing. Sometimes if my set isn't going the way I want, I'll rush. And then my friend will be like, man, you talk fast. And I go, fuck. Because, like, you know, I didn't stay in the pocket. I got nervous and I rushed. So it's like, yeah, little things like that.
Like pulling, like, the wrong audibles and stuff and analyzing that.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, dude, it's cool. I don't know. It's cool. And that's another thing about the mothership that's cool. It's like the thing is working.
Yeah.
It's working. Like, you have Casey Rockets blowing up. I went on the road with him. Dude, like, people, they treat him like he's the Beatles.
Right.
Like, I've seen, like, just people just like, hey, Mr. Rock, you know, and it's cool.
It's like Kaufman-esque. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
you
and the
know?
cool thing is, I'm like when I went on the road with him, we did some co-headlining. We booked some stuff before he blew up. And the coolest thing I thought was after he blew up, Casey was dope, and he's like, yeah, let's still do these dates together, where he could have easily been like, hey, man, I'm selling these tickets.
Right.
Bug off.
It's like, I'm going up to a theater and I'm going to
Yeah,
take someone
he
else.
could literally go.
Yeah.
No, he could literally go bug out because, like, he let me. We split the money still, which was so sweet of him.
Oh, wow. So Casey's like a nice guy.
He's the sweetest. Dude. He's the coolest man. I'm so glad. Like, he's the best. And but the coolest thing is his fans. I'd go up, and afterwards they were so nice too. They're just comedy fans.
Right.
They're like, hey man, we came to see Casey, but like, fucking, you helped make the show.
Fuck
And it's like, that's the cool thing is like, with the Rogan sphere, is it's these people that just wanna see good comedy.
Right.
They just want to see good comedy, and it's almost like
They're
it's
super receptive to it.
yeah. And there's like regulars now at the mothership that come maybe once or twice a month. They'll be like, "Hey man, I saw you do that bit at the mic 2 months ago. Holy fuck, it's in your act now." And
Oh, giving you notes on improved
not even
jokes?
notes. They'll just
Not
be like,
notes, but-
yeah, they'll be like, "I love how you added this." And bro, the way you slowed that, like it's crazy. They're like fucking nerds about it, and I
Right.
love it.
Like they're seeing the adjustments you're actually making. You're like, oh, you fucking saw what I was doing with that?
Because I'm used to like Dallas audiences where they go, you should go up there and call yourself, you should say you look like Ellen DeGeneres. That would get that's what you should do. And you should maybe, have you ever thought about doing the truffle shuffle on stage? That's a real note I've gotten before. After a ball, I felt bad at Dallas Hyenas. And a lady goes, if it goes bad next time, just do the truffle shuffle. You'll win us over that way. That's a real note I've gotten.
Do some stuff about the Mavericks. We like the Mavericks here.
Yeah.
You like Mattress Mac? Does he do? Is he in this one or is that Houston?
That's Houston. We don't talk about matches.
Sorry about that.
No, but yeah, so it's cool. There's like real nerds of comedy that are just like, bro, I love how you connected this bit to that, and it's cool, man.
Fucking A. So like, describe to me what a typical day, because like I know that it's a nightclub, but sometimes I talk to you, and you're like, 5 o'clock, just got off work. I'm like, I don't think the first show started yet.
Oh, so
Like what does a typical day at work at the mothership look like?
So we get there around like 5:45, set
Okay.
up the rooms, just set up the chairs, all that stuff, and then so there's people yondering out front, and then we have someone on stairs to direct what room you go into.
Gotcha.
In the lobby, and then we have seaters. So it's like there's a door guy that spiels, gives people the rules. Hey, don't talk.
Right.
2 drink minimum, the basic comedy club rules. And then we show the audience to their seat. So it's not because people are like, can't we just seat ourselves? It's like, it would be hell.
No.
We got
the show needs to start on time, as
yeah.
possible.
So then we just seat, and then once the show starts, that's the coolest thing too. Once the show starts, there has to be people in the lobby, and in positions, but we always trade off so that we can fuck off a little bit.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
there's a
guys
lot
look
of-
out for each other.
It's like
my
okay,
fuck
I'll
off
take
time.
over stairs, and then you go do your thing, and then in 20 minutes come back, and then I'll fuck off for a little bit, and then we fuck off, and then we flip the rooms, let's take out the trash, reseat,
Right.
put the chairs back, and then then we do it again.
So I know that Comedy Mothership is on Dirty Six, and for people that don't live in Austin or are unaware of
It's
it,
hell.
literally for I want to say a 48-hour period, something like that. Literally, they close the street down. Policemen on horses are just kind of roaming the streets.
It's Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, people are butt fucking just.
No,
everywhere.
I genuinely think I came into Austin an atheist, and I go, oh, the Bible is 100% true, and Sodom Gomorrah is 36th. Like, that is what it feels like. It is just the degeneracy. It's just sin, and it's so much fun, and I love it. it's literally, there's literally guys with snakes around their necks.
Yeah, it's insane.
Walking around There's literally serpents.
Reptile
Yeah.
people.
And there's a man that comes up to you and goes, eat the apple from the tree.
All I need's a rib. How much for one rib? Wow, I kept myself real hard to not do a full Chris Rock accent.
How long?
But for the club being located on Dirty Six,
Yeah.
which is one of the grungiest, like
Yes.
it's fucking think Mardi Gras, but in
Yes.
Austin type of shit, where it's just fucking anything goes.
Yeah.
Like my favorite shit about anything is horror stories. We're just like, oh yeah, this fucking one drunk literally just bum rushed inside the club and fucking this whole entire thing. Like, what are some of the craziest things you've seen?
The cool thing is we don't really deal with. The craziest thing is we had a homeless guy swing at one of our security guys, but they're all UFC fighters. So.
An ex-Mossad and fucking
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So they literally, and they didn't really hurt the guy, but he swung at him. The guy got him down, and then the other guys, he was on the floor within 3 seconds, and they just held him down until the cops came. And then, and the cool thing is, that's one thing I do love about the place is that the security is top notch.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I used to be a door guy at my home club in Dallas.
Oh, where you'd have to be security?
I did everything. And it's look at me. I go up to a table, go, could you please stop talking?
Dude, I got bad knees and a bad back, and I think I could take you.
There's just a cowboy that will just like look at you and go, fuck off, kid. And you're just like, okay, okay.
When Farm Strength starts talking shit to you.
You're just like, okay, I'm sorry. Like literally, I would kick people out and they would want to fight me. And the way I would de-escalate it is I would roast them. Like if I kicked out 2 dudes, I would roast one of the friends because then it would make that other friend laugh. And then he'd start roasting them. And then I would start roasting that friend, and then that guy would laugh. So now they're just roasting, and that's how it de-escalated.
And then you would just fade into
And then I would
the
just go, hey, maybe next time, fellas. And I would leave and I hated it. I remember once I had to kick out they asked me to kick out a guy, and it was this 6'5", 6'6" dude, jacked. He was on every steroid you could think of, and he was just pacing in the back of the room. He wasn't even sitting down; he was pacing
Of the comedy room?
of the comedy room. And they're like, "That guy's weird." And I was like, "Uh huh." And they're like, "Could
The
you?"
comics are like, is he going up next? What's going on?
Like, audience member was like,
Warming
"What's he doing?" And he was just mumbling to himself. Like there was something he'd snapped or something, and people were like, and my manager at my old club was just like, "You got to kick him out." And I go, "You pay me $9 an hour?" No. No. Sorry. No. You get health benefit. I don't. No.
If he breaks my arm, I'm on my own.
I literally tried to talk to him. I go, "Hey, sir." He goes, "Shut the fuck up." I go, "All right." I go, I can't.
It's like, I was thinking the same
Same
thing.
thing, yeah. Man,
I should shut the fuck
you're a
up.
smart man. So that's what I love is we don't have to deal with, and we have Austin PD on site.
Right, you just shoulder tap the right person and be like, this one's a
No,
problem.
literally, the security will like kick it out. And if they get a problem, there's a cop, and usually when a drunk person sees a cop, they shut up real fast. They're like, "I don't want to fucking leave," and then a police officer shows up. They're like, I think it's time to go."
They're like, exit's still here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so there hasn't been a lot of horror stories. I think the worst is just because Joe is a big weed guy.
Yeah.
So I think the worst is people go, "I'm gonna go see a Joe show, get high, and drink," and it's just vomiting.
Oh, it's just crossfaders, Barbados.
I
all
think
over
the
place.
worst night at the Mothership, and this was where it's like the highs and lows.
Yeah.
It was New Year's Eve, and it's about to be midnight. And I go to the bathroom, and I was like, I'm going to go pee real quick, and then I'm going to go in the main room. We're going to have champagne with all the friends, and it's going to be a good night. And I go to the bathroom, and I just see a guy yak all over the bathroom floor. Just
Not
the thing
in
is-
the toilet.
And the thing is, I saw him walk down the stairs. I go, sir, if you're going to throw up, just go outside. Throw up on Dirty Six. No one will care. I go, I'll even let you back in the club. He goes, but if you throw up in the bathroom, please, just go outside. He goes towards, he's like, oh, I have to throw up. Goes in the bathroom. So I go in the bathroom. I open the stall, and he's just throwing up missed the toilet everywhere. And I literally looked at him, and I just go, I hate you. I told him, I go, I hate you. I go, you have to leave because my friends and family are upstairs. I go, you're spending New Year's alone, bitch. I go, you're done. I gave you a chance. I would have let you back in because you know what I had to do? Now it's me mopping. And I hear 3, 2, 1, and I'm mopping vomit. And dude, it was one of those things where I was sad. Like it was one of those low moments where I'm like, did I make the right choice? Because I got invited to parties, I got invited, all this other stuff, and now I'm just mopping vomit. And it was like, I was like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? The cool thing is there was this audience member, he saw me, and it comes in after the cheers and everything. He sees me mopping, and he goes, oh, fuck, brother. I was like, yeah, man, it's just another day at the job. And he fucking palms me $300 cash.
There we fucking
And
go.
he just goes, man, I hope your 2024 gets a little better, brother. And I was like, okay.
Like, it's starting off pretty all right.
I was like, all right. But that was a night where afterwards I went outside and smoked a cigarette, and I was like, oh, what is life? This is fuck. And then that night I also totaled my car. A drunk driver hit my car and fucking ran off. And so it was like back to back.
Bad, good, bad, good, bad.
But it was like back to
Jesus.
back. And I remember that week, 2 weeks with no.
Wait, that was all on the same night?
So vomit. I had one drink. I was like, I'm going to go home. We'll start off tomorrow. It's going to be a good day. And then on the way home, there was a car accident, and we stopped, and it was like merging to get on. And this guy just, boom, hits my side, and then just drives off. And, couldn't. So that was back to back. But it's one of those things where it was like, I think that was like the comedy gods going like, hey man, life is going kind of well right now. Like I had just done a few cool Fat Man shows and all this stuff, and like worked with like I think Ron had asked me to do his shows.
Oh fuck yeah!
Ron White, which is like
familiar,
to me was just like this guy knows my name.
Yeah.
I used to watch him at fucking midnight.
It's a fucking pinch me moment.
Yeah, on Comedy Central. I would just watch his set from Blue Collar.
You're wiping puke off your arm. You're like, maybe this ain't so bad.
Yeah. But it was like, I think it was like, I had like a good week leading up to that. I think it was just the comedy gods going like, hey man, things are good, but like, you're not there yet.
Right.
You got some time.
They're just giving you glimpses. They're like, this is just a taste of what it could be. You know how good this feels? Mm-hmm. What's waiting for you is a million times better than this.
Yeah.
This feels great.
Yeah. Here's a little fire.
Yeah.
Here's a little fire. Like,
See, that's so inspiring and motivating because like that perspective is hard to find in people.
Yeah.
Like there's people where, I've met them, you've definitely met them that are in comedy where it's always a why me? Like how is this? This is everyone's fault except for mine, and this is just what my life is gonna be like, and I'm just gonna keep my head down and try and make sure that my shoes are clean enough, like and I don't step in dog shit. But like, then there's people like you, where it's just like, today you, tomorrow me.
I think I look at it because it's I'll be on TikTok and I'll see people getting bombed. And I go, you know what? Cleaning up puke ain't that bad.
No, yeah, those. Yeah.
Just like I see, you see like accidents, murder, genocide.
Yeah.
You see just see everything.
You're like, I prefer the way I bomb before the way I get bombed than the way I see the other people get bombed in these fucking crazy Russia, fucking Mideast videos.
Yeah, I look at a perspective. Recently, I've just kind of tried to go through that perspective, going like, oh, yeah, like I didn't have a call for 3 weeks. Oh, you know, that guy doesn't have legs.
Right.
That guy, he doesn't have a car, nor can he walk. Like, so I kind of,
Your threshold goes up.
yeah, and I also just feel like I'm the luckiest guy, man. I genuinely do. Like my buddy CJ, again, he's like he's a door guy at the Mothership, one of my oldest friends, funny fucking comic. He's kind of the guy where we're always right and bouncing off ideas of each other. And he was telling me, I was kind of like down on myself because like after a set or something, and I was just like, oh man, fuck that, fuck. And he goes, bro, you wanna know what's crazy? And I go, what? And he goes, 5 years ago when we met, we were outside smoking a cigarette. There was like a little patio area at Dallas Hyenas. We were smoking a cigarette and we're talking about what's your dream in comedy? And you literally looked at me and you said, my dream is to work as a door guy and eventually get passed at the store or cellar, do spots during the week there, and then once or twice a month, go on the road. He goes, you're basically doing that now. You're on the road.
That's what I'm fucking talking
and
about.
he's like, you're literally, doing.
And you didn't fall backwards into it. This was the plan.
Yeah, and he's like, you're 7 years in and you've already hit your dream, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's so,
It's
and
about
then
to
after
start
that,
getting
I was
good.
just like, it kind of I was just like, yeah, you're right. I am living my dream. Like, I'm living the dream. So it's like anytime, like, now it's like someone will say, oh, there's vomit, and I'd be like, ugh. But now it's kind of just whistling because it's just like, yeah, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
It's vomit.
Right. Vomit today. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
someone's going to be cleaning up my puke.
Exactly. Tomorrow's mine, and then I'm going to go do a set and have a good time. It's all just building to something great. This is all just character moments. I'm earning my stripes, and yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just, I come from a kind of negative household.
Which is wild because
Growing
you're so
up-
optimistic.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, I hated that. I hate where it was just like, you gotta get a job and it fucking you gotta get a job. You're wearing that. You're dyeing your hair like that. But what are people gonna think? Like, it was just this weird kind of judgy, weird. I came from a very negative, so I kind of almost that's my rebellious.
Yeah.
Thank God that's how I rebel, is love.
Yeah.
That's it.
Dude, it fucking
That's the
shows.
way it's like I try to rebel, is just going like, yeah, fuck that, and then going to the Mothership. And again, man, it's a family, dude.
Yeah.
It's like literally managers cheering us on, staff cheering us on, other comics cheering us on. It is literally a family, and it's like we can joke with our manager. Like literally, Jody, he's the best. And literally he'll walk in the room. He'll be like, are you guys ready to see? And we'll be like, shut the fuck up. You're always just yapping. What do you even do around here? And the cool thing about him is he knows he's the straight guy. So he just goes, okay, guys, I'll come check in again in 10 minutes. And it's so funny. And then he'll rip with us. But that's why I can't complain. It's always laughs. If we do our job, our managers goof with us, and it's a laugh. Which most people at work can't say they get to do that.
Yeah. A lot of people can't, man.
I've worked those office jobs where, it's just people typing away
Right.
for hours and hours, and then they go home, and then their little joy is watching Lost on NBC.
And sometimes you're one of the few lucky ones that actually looks forward to going to work.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, we're a rare breed, man.
Yeah.
We actually like the shit that we like
It's
doing.
crazy. So, yeah, I can't, yeah.
And
like, we got to know each other because of comedy,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell this story. I literally was in the green room the other night, and I'm just sitting there, and Ron White walks in, and he just goes, so what's your game plan? And I was like, I'll just build my hour. Then next year I want to tour it.
I just got so hard for you.
Yeah. And then, and then for 2 years I want to tour it and, get it good, and then, eventually shoot it. And he goes, I like that, man. And he goes, I go, why'd you ask? He goes, I just wanted to ask, man. Like, you're in good regards here, and I think you're going to do well. And I'm just like, bro.
Dude, that's fucking insane,
Yeah,
man.
man. Like a legend, like a true just true like so like moments like that, I'm just like, I'm so grateful, so I can't be mad. So anytime I do feel that envy or jealousy, because it does creep in sometimes.
Sure.
It
Yeah,
does.
you're human.
I'm human, but I always remember moments like that.
And here's what's cool. Here's what's cool, Tony, too, because I've noticed this over the years too, and I think we are going a little over. But yeah, here's what's cool about this shit is that you have all these little nuggets of like, fucking holy shit, I'm never gonna forget this.
Yeah.
You're gonna have so many of those, you will start forgetting them,
no.
and that's when it gets fucking.
I have a diary, dumbass.
And it's under my bed.
All right. Last thing that I want to end this up because
Okay.
this is supposed to be like a informational help people.
Yeah.
Like it's if people see who you are and they're like, I want to get to where Tony
Yeah.
is. Like, what advice do you give to someone that's at home watching this podcast and not in comedy at all?
And they want to be a comedian?
They want to be a comedian. They want to be a door guy at the mothership and get into this scene.
If you want to be a comedian, I go, okay. Get on stage every night. Get on stage every fucking, because I'll see people, they're like, I've been writing for years. How many times have you gone up? 0. That writing's pointless. The first 2 years is just getting comfortable on stage. The words you say really don't fucking matter.
Right.
Write, get on stage, give up stuff. Me, I gave up a job where I was gonna make $100,000, over $100,000 a year doing photography, and it literally started contradicting with road gigs. So I literally go, time to quit the job. I literally was about to buy my dream car, brand new VW Golf. I had it picked out, ready to buy, and I said, bye-bye car, back to my shitty Nissan Altima.
Fuck yeah.
Give up.
Fuck yeah.
You have to give up shit. You're going to be broke. You're going to work at a shitty job that doesn't pay a lot of money. You're going to miss birthday parties, friends' birthday parties. You're going to miss weddings. You're going to miss stuff. You have to give shit up. Because I truly believe, and this is like kind of hokey, and this is kind of, I'm not a religious man, but I do believe in greater powers. The more you put in, the more it gives you out.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I was struggling financially, and rent is due in 2 days, and I'm $500 away from rent. So not a little bit, a lot. And I'm freaking out, like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to move back home.
Right.
My dad's going to make me he's going to make me get a normal job. It's going to, it's over. And then literally getting a call going like, hey, someone dropped out. There's this private gig. It pays $2,000. You in? And I'm like, when is it? And they're like, in 2 hours. I'm like, it's cash? And they're like, it's cash. And that's happened to me 3 times. Where
That's
it's
what I'm
like,
fucking talking about.
where I'm
dude.
like, I just in a pinch.
The gods want you to keep
And the
doing
gods
this, man.
want you. So that's my advice: is if you really want to do it, if you really want to, don't half-ass it. Just fucking show up, be positive, find your friends. Don't try to make it. That's my biggest thing too. When you're starting off, don't be a network. Hey, oh, you booked the show. How do I get on the show? Don't try to make it. Just show up and be a cool hang. Fucking do your time on stage, hang around, be chill, make your friends. Because honestly, those are the times I miss the most. As a young comic, doing those shitty road gigs, getting in a car with 4 friends, and just laughing our ass off. Because now it's more individualistic, where I'm flying by myself and all that stuff. But it's like, yeah, man, just work your ass off.
Say yes.
Say yes. Just show up. Move to Austin.
Not a bad move.
Move here. It's happening. Be around this next generation. And the cool thing is, here Hollywood isn't here. So it's if you are trying to just be a straight up comic, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
There's no show business attached.
The suits haven't arrived yet.
Oh, and I'm ready. I got guns ready for the suits. I want to be in the show Friends suits.
Friends?
Yeah, we're rebooting it. We're rebooting it.
My friends always told me I was a Chandler.
It's the hick French. Ah, shit. I think Kevin's a transvestite. Oh, shit.
Tony, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Nadav.
I'm definitely gonna have you back on. We'll talk about there's so much stuff left to talk about. But please plug, where can people find you? Some
Comedian
shows?
Tony C on Instagram. You can look me up on YouTube at Tony Casillas. I have if you want to see my stand up, I released a few months ago a little 10-15 minute stand up not special but clip thing. And then me and Nadav might be doing something in the future.
Fuck yeah.
We're figuring something out.
A little
and then,
teasy tease.
A little teasy tease. We're doing gay sex.
Yeah. It's on onlyfats.com.
Yeah, onlyfats.com.
If you're into just big dudes fucking.
Do you like big dudes? Do you like gross and unromantic sex?
Do you like red and bleached hair just kind of getting tangled in a mesh? Thank you. Boy, what a fucking strong
OnlyFans.com. I literally have
I gotta buy that domain. I have to buy that domain.
I literally have all my money attached to it.
We're changing the name of our podcast. I'd like to say thank you for everyone that is watching this episode of Catching You Up with Nadav. I hope to be doing a whole bunch more of this series of people that are in podcasting, podcast adjacent. I'd like to thank everyone that you're seeing on screen right now who is a Patreon supporter.
Yep.
If you'd like to become a supporter of the show, go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. I'd like to thank you again for watching this. This is so much fun for me. I hope it's fun for you, Tony.
I had fun.
But I'd also like to remind you, of course, that all of this is unconfirmed news.